Hey,
You all right?
never been better.
Take a little walk to the edge of town and go across the track where the viaduct looms like a bird of doom as it ships and cracks, where secrets lie in the border fires and the humming wires. Yeah, man, you know you're never coming back. Across the square, across the bridge, past the mills, past the stacks. On a gathering storm comes a tall, handsome man in a dusty black coat with a red right hand.
The model has been set. This is how a role-playing, action-based video game should play and feel. I think companies like EA Games and Activision, and you got your Ubisofts and the major companies out there, should definitely pay attention to how this was made. This is what we like, and this is how it should be, if executed correctly. Except this isn't.
Shower, fuck, I'm feeling empowered. Now I got all the power, so go ahead, take a shower. Think I'll take a shower. Fuck, I feel empowered. Now I got all the power, so go ahead, take.
Stop!
Hey! Watch out, boy.
Don't buy this unfinished game with an amazing ending that you're gonna have to play this much just to get to, and the odds being the final cutscene will crash on you. It's unfinished. And don't blame the critics, me, or anybody else that said so. It's their fault entirely. CD Projekt Red duped us, lied to us, misled into pre-ordering, purchasing, buying something that was not finished at release. And probably won't be finished in 6 months from now on.
Are you serious?
Nowhere did it said 60 euros for the beta version. Instead, they mentioned something about gold version. That's right. Cyberpunk 2077 in November, if I remember correctly, went gold. Now, here's the thing. Back in the days, when they said gold, they meant all updates, DLCs, fixes, and everything in one big package. That meant gold. You need to have the finished product, the actual video game, all, and plenty of improvements and bug fixes, etc., and then release it with a DLC or two, so you can call it gold. That's how I remember it. No one would have purchased a 60 euro beta version of anything. Euros for betas.
Son of a mud scuffer.
All the critics and everyone, including me, had probably a love-hate relationship with this game. And most of them gave up on it, asked for refunds, rage quit, everyone for the right reasons. I had to kind of finish it, mainly because I wanted to, but not just for the content. I wanted to get through it all. But, this is not about me, it's about you, and why you should stay away from Cyberpunk 2077 in 2020 still. If you're watching this in the distant future, by now the game has probably received one single update, and a couple of generations of graphics cards have been released. You should be able to play it at 60 frames at any given resolution, the way a regular gold standard video game should be. Except this is beta version, not gold. We've covered that already. Yes, I pre-ordered this and felt cheated out of my money. I gave them my earned money for the edition, which meant smooth, almost perfect experience, and I got the beta version instead. It has bugs from the beginning where you're customizing your character to the end, when you have to, that cutscene where you have to insert the wire into your head. Chances are it's going to crash the way it did for me as well. Geometry is constantly broken, all the objects are colliding onto one another. Performance? What performance?
Let us pray.
And because there are so many glitches, issues altogether, I don't think they're all gonna get fixed. There's just so much to be done. And dropping any type of sarcasm or exaggeration, by next year, December 2021, this game, I don't think it's gonna be able to reach gold standards. It's just so much to repair, so much to actually make. We're not talking about just fixing, we're talking about making the level again. These things take time and money, and I don't think they're willing to invest. Odds are Nexus mods community are going to do a better job than CD Projekt Red. I cannot guarantee, no one can, we cannot foresee the future, but I think by next December, Nexus mods will have a huge mod list of more than 100 bugs fixed and repaired, where CD Projekt Red will not. These guys will make the game better, where the actual developers can't, won't, or just don't want to. They're probably reducing staff as we speak. The video game is done, job's over. The company got their money out of all those pre-orders and sales. Why keep all those employees? Reducing the workforce is the first thing they do. I mentioned a love-hate relationship.
Cocainum.
This is actually me talking from my heart. That's what I felt playing it. Part of me didn't like it. The other one of me just wanted more because at some point it was very good. It's very, very well written. And the idea behind this game, while it doesn't work and it's horribly executed, absolutely abysmal, the idea itself is superb. It builds up a relationship with the character and everyone around the main protagonist, V, and the events that unfold really give you incentive to push on, to keep playing, to know more about everybody else, all the other characters, and to get to know them, to interact with their world. Night City is a miserable place. What makes it so good and yet so kind of depressing is its realism. Night City is LA, but like 70 years from now on when technology advances. It's a Night City kind of made like from a real city that just has real events, pollution, technology, corporate money-making asshole giving away very low-paid jobs. Crime rate spikes because of the income of the people is either non-existent or very low, so they have to do anything else to survive. Gang wars, everyone's doing anything just to make some money. Everything is permitted, everything goes. And it kind of feels all too real. The story is real if you look at it. The characters seem real. The events that you play are like it would happen in real life almost. It gives you a strong prediction that someday it's gonna end up just like this. It forces the future in its sorry, sad state. Even though it's not exactly comparing apples with apples, Witcher was made by the exact same company, right? And looking at specifically, let's say, Witcher 3, which was the best one, for comparison and kind of like story feeling, Witcher is a delicious exotic fruit. And Cyberpunk is kind of like a rotten apple. Witcher 3 was stoic. It had love, laughter, sadness, emotion, fun times, fairy tale atmosphere, magic of all things, beauty, incredible looking landscapes, enchantment, fable-like characters. It takes you on an unbelievable journey of ice and fire, where Cyberpunk gives you Night City in all of its glory, a fictional place where only the rich can thrive, and the average person, the working class man, only barely gets to survive. Pollution, animal population has almost disappeared, and you're breathing fumes. You need a cybernetic modified lung just to breathe. And you're drinking and eating kind of something similar to plastic, or food that mostly contains plastic microfibers. You actually have a quest with the main character that kind of says exactly just that in the cutscene. He's unhappy with the quality of the food.
It's like junk food. People don't buy it because they're gunk. They're just poor.
Does that sound familiar in any way? Most of it does, doesn't it? Quite very much. As for the rest, well, unfortunately, we are getting there someday. Cyberpunk 2077 does not apologize for the world of fantasy that has created. In fact, it wants it to be as close to reality as it can. Or certainly one day it will be, and we're all gonna be a part of it. At least the kids. Someone being born, let's say this year in 2020, by the time they reach the age of 70, things are probably gonna look like that. Night City is not ridiculous or far-fetched. It is so far an inevitable future. This is why the game is serious, and so is the story, and it feels a bit uncomfortable. You're playing it knowing that eventually what you're kind of experiencing right now is like probably one day going to happen, just like that. In some ways, some of it is happening right now. Cyberpunk 2077, it's not for the dreamer that wants to get lost in a make-believe kind of story with characters that never existed and probably never will. It's for the realist. And it's serious. The potential of this, if ever executed correctly, as many people say, and I totally agree, is huge. I mean, it definitely has its very well made parts. Very good gunplay, very good melee fighting. I love the camera and how it moves around as you're dodging and attacking. It reminds me a little bit of Mordhau or Chivalry, medieval warfare. Superb, excellent English voice acting. I don't know about the rest of the languages, but as English goes, as far as, the voice acting in English is just so good. The graphics, very, very good. Hopefully, we'll get better performance. Very, very good facial animation and character movement. Good timing for the quests. I like how the story unfolds and how you dive deeper and you get even side quests, but everything is related to the main stuff. It gives you a little bit of a rush. It tells you that you're running out of time in a way. No spoilers. Side activities and side quests are all different and nothing is boring. There are a few, fetch quests, but nothing that will ruin the experience or the immersion. Dialogue, and there's so much lore and story for days. Literally days. The world of Cyberpunk is so detailed, and you have, everything kind of detailed and explained. All of the struggle and the pain that the average person is kind of going through this city, and you kind of get to see the misery and, just how Night City really is. All of their motives, all of them trying to survive, make some money, kind of make a difference for themselves and maybe the people close to them. The emotion, there's a lot of emotion. As you progress through the story, I guess you get attached to some of the characters and you will lose people along the way. It really, really knows how to deliver feelings. The game does this very well. Something particularly that I didn't like, well, except for the fact that the entire game is broken, the choices or the lack of choices. I wanted more decision making. There's almost none. Very, very little moments when the game is kind of giving you options. Most of the time is just linear. I really wanted more choices and something that will impact the story. The lines of dialogues are great. They're there to kind of immerse you and make you understand what you're doing or give you so much detail about the characters involved. But it almost never makes a difference. And that was kind of disappointing. There is a quest, for example, a specific quest, and I'm not going to say which one for the sake of spoilers. It has the potential to take away all your gear, and by gear I mean weapons, money, and armor. But I feel like it's slightly, missed opportunity. There's plenty of chances because it is a side quest that you're probably gonna skip it or not even pick it up or do it. So you don't really have to worry about it too much. But it is a consequence of something that you've done at the beginning of the game, which was very, very good. And I wanted more of this. Unfortunately, there isn't. Cyberpunk 2077, in the end, just like the title of this video, I really feel like it raises awareness. From my point of view, like in two major ways. First, in the future, gaming companies should not release their games unless they are finished. This is always, I guess, it's been clear, but for the many years that I've been gaming, they haven't always been doing that. And here we are, 2020, year of our Lord, they done it again. And from a company that I really didn't expect it, out of everybody else. I would have expected from a Ubisoft, I would have definitely expected it from EA Games, but not from these guys. And it's so bad. They have to avoid making this mistake in the future because just look at the mess that they've done. And second, it raises awareness on a more, emotional level, something from the heart that you feel. It raises awareness towards the reality that we are all kind of heading into. The destroyed planet, the pollution, almost all the animal races are gone. And there's actually the first quest in a game that shows you that. And it was just, for me, it was kind of heartbreaking. This isn't a spoiler or anything else. There's an animal and you pull it out of a box and, the characters V and his best friend at the moment, his partner, do mention the fact that, look, this is the last of its kind. And it just immediately kind of gives you this realization. The corruption everywhere, from the politics and, the way the cities run, the crime rate, drugs, prostitution, murder, and everything that's bad and everything that kind of leads to this mess. This is a possible future that we're kind of heading into. And depending where you go on this earth, you will find just that. And it kind of just shows you and it raises awareness towards this. It has to be avoided at all costs, not just for the future generations, but for us, the people living right now, in the present. A future like Cyberpunk has to be at all costs avoid it. And it does show you this. Like, the game shows you this quite very often. If you look at it, if you kind of immerse yourself in a story, you see that none of that was kind of like planned to be like this, and they are all just living it. And nobody's happy about it. Few are trying to do something about it. And you, the main character, you're just surviving and barely kind of getting along. V is not the hero. Cyberpunk 2077 plays like a movie in which you, the main protagonist, you're the anti-hero. You don't get to save the day because you can barely save yourself, as you will see if you're gonna play this game. It plays like a movie, it feels like a movie, and I think that is probably the closest game so far that was able to really pull that realism off. It's very, very good from this point of view. And maybe one day this movie, it's all gonna be fixed, I guess, so we can enjoy it the way it was meant to be played.
Shut the fuck up, Johnny. Just stop talking.